This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Continuing with the Bahamas tonight, the nation's chief defends his position on national matters in wake of mounting criticism.
That's right. The Prime Minister says he has to make some tough decisions in order to revitalize and expand the Bahamian economy. Clint Watson reports.
My faith governs me, and the reality of that is it leads me to do the things I do.
And for Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie, that's the foundation on which he stands and leads the nation. Recognizing his imperfections, he says he is still motivated to move ahead. Prime Minister Christie in his role has been subjected to much criticisms, and while he accepts that people have the right to say what they like, he is also of the view that he must do what he deems is right and in the best interest for the Bahamas.
I'm not in a debate about how long I'm in politics. There's limits to my life. That's the point I'm making, you see, and not just whether I could run another term. That's not even in my consideration, right? It's not something you do politically to say and cause a debate on, but right now I'm driven to do what is right for the country.
Prime Minister Christie clarifying that his comments to the church are not intended to be offensive or in direct response to their opposition of the gaming bill, as he is led by some of these persons and have personal relationships with them, but rather in defense of what his motivation is as a leader of a nation facing critical decisions in the wake of progress and stability.
Whether I'm seen to be doing the right thing or not, so long as I am in the belief that what I'm doing is honestly intended to benefit the Bahamian people, it is not harmful to them, it is not a sinful action that I'm taking, but one that is manifestly in the best interest of the country itself, then I am moving forward as strongly as ever and resolute in my determination to make a major impact on the country, positive. Not negative, positive.
Prime Minister Christie says the passing of the bill is the first round of bringing some semblance to an industry that must be regulated.
If you see that we could use as a foundation subject to audit, $600 million, how do you think $600 million could be in play from Bahamians? How many thousands, tens of thousands of Bahamians that are a part of making that money available to that market? And logically, we'll be able to find out once we put it to audit, we will have proof positive of exactly what it is, of the many thousands that are doing that.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Well, still on gaming, former Gaming Board Chairman Dr. Andre Rollins warning government that its hypocrisy and double standards in its treatment of striking civil servants and the acceptance of web shop operators could result in the PLP being fired by the Bahamian people during the next general election. Rollins was giving his contribution to the gaming bill debate in the House of Assembly Thursday evening when he warned that having one set of rules for one group opens the door for lawbreaking.
How can we say that civil servants who go on strike will result in the government seeing to it that they are fired from their precious jobs because by their actions they are breaking the law? But in the next voice, come in here and say that Bahamians who have admittedly broken the law by engaging in illegal gaming will not just keep their businesses, but be legitimized by that very same government.
Rollins says government must be careful in its lofty projections of what revenue it will generate from regulating web shops, as it could be embarrassed if those projections fall short. The Fort Charlotte MP also expressed concerns about the selective process in which government will decide who will receive a license to run a web shop. Rollins says it would lead to jockeying among web shop operators to secure one of the limited licenses. Rollins, who does not support the gaming bill, charged that if government is to legitimize and regulate workshops, or web shops that is, it must put in place other key legislation.
To ensure that we don't suffer from a deficit of trust, this legislation should be accompanied by campaign finance legislation, and also, contrary to what the member for Marathon who has carriage of this particular legislation, we should also be accompanying this with freedom of information legislation. If we don't do it, the Progressive Liberal Party, which is a party I am a member of, will continue to suffer from the public perception that we are corrupt or that we support corrupt practices.
Well, Bambootown MP Renard Wells is holding firm to his position on gambling. He feels if Bahamians are good enough to be employed in casinos, they are mature enough to sit on the other side as patrons.
I got to go back to why it's fundamental and germane for me. Because for me, Mr. Speaker, there is a spiritual principle as to why it is that I have a problem moving forward. Mr. Speaker, the Bible makes it quite clear that you are to have one law. I want you to hear me, Mr. Speaker, because, again, there are some foundational principles in Western society based on that statement. You ought to have one law for the foreigner as well as the native born. He is not to have an opportunity, the foreigner, to do anything in your society or anyone who comes in that you are not able to do.
Still on the gaming bill, the Deputy Prime Minister not mincing words when he contributed to the debate last evening. He had some strong words for the church and gave what he deemed a reality check on gaming. Jared Higgs has the story.
Noting the growth in the gaming industry and the expansion of number houses in our community, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis says it would be extremely difficult to enforce laws to shut down or police number houses if the industry is not regulated. During his contribution to the gaming debate, the Member of Parliament for Cat Island, San Salvador and Rum Key likened shutting down the gaming industry to shutting down internet technology.
The law as it exists cannot be enforced. Truth be told, we are now at a stage where even if we try to shut down the numbers industry, government is faced with the difficulty of trying to do so completely, being unable to do so completely because of the widespread use of technology. Nothing short of closing down the internet.
Mr. Davis further noted that Bahamians love to gamble, but he suggested that regularizing the industry would not result in an increase in the number of gamblers.
Bahamians love to gamble. They love the access that they have in their homes. Some love the games to their own detriment. However, the regularization of this industry, in my view, will not see a significant rise in the number of gamblers. Whoever wants to gamble is doing so right now. Anyone can walk into a web shop and place a bet.
Deputy Prime Minister Davis also hit out at the Christian Council, who opposed the gaming bill, calling it the death of democracy. Mr. Davis questioned how many of these pastors who oppose the gaming bill might be more concerned with their own collection plates.
But to my recollection, as long as there was no attempt to bring order to this situation, everyone seemed happy to turn a blind eye. I know that their concern chiefly centers on the degradation of our society. But how many of them? And again, why should I have to be asking myself this question? Are they secretly concerned about what will not make it to the collection plates?
Now, Mr. Davis maintains that regulating the gaming industry will help to ensure the sustained growth of the economy and provide employment while setting forth the policy standard for what is now an illegal industry. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.